Okay, look, usually around the trade deadline, the Texans are usually a team that makes big trades because they're always hit by the injury bug. Look at the last 2 years. 2018, Will Fuller was out for the season with an ACL tear, and Kiki Cutesy was hurt. So DeAndre Hopkins, the only good receiver on the roster. So the Texans had to trade for a guy. What they do? Trade for Demaryius Thomas. In 2019, all their corners were hurt. Roby was hurt. They didn't have Hargraves at the time. Lonnie was hurt. Yeah, so Joseph was hurt. Everyone was hurt. So the Texans traded for Garyon Conley. But this year, the Texans' season is done. So there's no point in trading for a player because you're not coming back from 1-5. I'm sorry, you're just not coming back from 1-5. But what you could potentially do is trade some of your players that have a big cap hit, and you could potentially get something out of. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna talk about 3 scenarios that I think the Texans could make, and there is one player that I just want the Texans to trade away, and it's gonna shock you guys. Now let's start off with some players that the Texans cannot trade at all costs. Number 1, Bradley Roby. No, cannot trade Roby. Plus, it would be very, very unrealistic to trade Roby. It's just not going to happen. Roby already got a contract, and dude's been balling out. He already got a contract this past offseason, so it just makes no sense. Next guy, Zach Cunningham. I do not know why people keep saying Zach Cunningham's going to get traded. Like, it makes no sense. Talking about you, Jason Lockenfora. No, he's not getting traded. He just signed a contract like 8 weeks ago. He's not getting traded. And the last guy, Justin Reed. And I haven't heard anyone talk about Justin Reed getting traded. Yeah, he's just not going to get traded. So those 3 guys on defense, you just cannot trade. Now for the offensive side, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks. Those are the only 2 guys that cannot trade. Those are pretty obvious. I mean, Jason Lockenfora said that Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks might get traded. Like, it makes no sense. Will Fuller, okay, it could make a little bit of sense, but Brandon Cooks makes no sense. He just got traded. Makes no sense. So, yeah. Now, let's get into the scenarios. Scenario 1, Texans trade Whitney Mercilus to the Ravens. Will they trade Whitney Mercilus and a 7th round pick to the Ravens for a 6th round pick? That is not much value, I do understand, but it is a good trade if you get that offer because you get a tiny bit of trade value. You get to upgrade from early 7th to late 6th. You do get to upgrade a little bit, and you get to get rid of that big old contract from Mercilus. 1, Mercilus is not good. 2, he has a huge cap hit. You got to trade him. Now, Mercilus, I don't think he has that much trade value. Like I said, just all I think we can get for him is 6th round pick. All we can get for him is an upgrade from the 7th to the 6th. But you're getting a contract out the way. You get to clear up $13 million cap space. So I think that would be a good trade if we made that. Now, do I see Whitney Mercilus fitting in with the Ravens? Oh, absolutely. I think Whitney Mercilus could help out the Ravens. Now, the Ravens pass rush, we all know it's god-awful. The Ravens know it themselves. They're always trying to trade for someone, whether it be Yannick Ngakoue, whether it be sign Jadeveon Clowney. They're trying to do something about that pass rush. Calais Campbell, he is a little bit older, and Matthew Judon is a free agent after this year. So if the Texans trade, let's say the Texans trade Mercilus to the Ravens, then Merciless could be on the bench. No, he's not going to start for the Ravens. As bad as the Ravens' pass rush is, he is not going to be a starter there. If Calais Campbell or Matthew Judon is tired or gassed out, they could put in Merciless and he'd be fresh off the bench and he could potentially do something. And after, let's say Judon walks next year, Calais Campbell is going to be very old. He's going to be he's already on the wrong side of 30, but at that point, he's going to be very, very old. I believe he's going to be 35 by the time next year comes. So, Merciless could be the starter next to Campbell, and the Ravens could draft a first-round pass rusher that can learn behind Whitney Merciless for like 9 weeks, and then Merciless goes back to the bench, and that first-round rookie starts, and then after that season, Merciless has no more guaranteed money on his contract, so the Ravens could just cut him. It makes sense. It makes sense to trade Merciless, and it makes sense for the Ravens as well to get a player like Whitney Merciless. Now, scenario 2. This is the player that's going to shock you guys that I think the Texans have got to trade. J.J. Watt to the Giants for Jabril Peppers. This is the only trade that, out of the 3 trades, that is going to be with you getting a different player from a team, and I think it makes perfect sense. J.J. Watt, he is old. He's I guess sort of washed up. Right now he's 31. Next season is going to be 32. So the Giants could potentially use him for the rest of his contract, which expires next year. And then, just like the Ravens could draft a first-round guy that could learn behind Watt. And Watt, unlike Merciless, Watt has trade value. J.J. Watt could still be a disruptive player for the Giants, while Merciless won't do anything. And Merciless is just not going to be that player that Watt is. Watt, he could do things with the Giants. Now, on the other side, Jabril Peppers, we all know it. We all hate Eric Murray. So, the Texans' safety situation, other than Justin Reed, they're really not that good, man. They have no one there. So, imagine a safety duo that contained Justin Reed and Jabril Peppers. And Jabril Peppers, he is not due for a new contract until, I believe, 2022. So you don't have to pay him until the off season after this off season. And you could and if you clear up cap space, let's say you cut David Johnson, you of course save cap space from Watt, you save it from Merciless, you could easily re-sign both your safeties next offseason. I think Jabril Peppers would be a really good fit here in Houston, and I think Watt to the Giants would make a really good fit as well. I think all around this is a good trade for both teams. The Giants, they get a pass rusher, because we all know it. NFC East is a terrible division. Every team there sucks. The Giants, they're currently 1-4. They are, I believe, third in their division. Philadelphia, or maybe even second, not second. I don't think they're second. No, wait. The Giants are 1-5. Giants are 1-5. They are third in their division. The Eagles are 1-4-1. And the Cowboys are 2-3, and they're probably going to lose tonight to the Cardinals. This is being recorded on Monday. So, J.J. Watt would make a huge jump for the Giants. And the Giants, They could win their division, get into the playoffs, and potentially do something, Because their team is pretty talented. Just a few more good draft picks, and their team could be good. Could be really good. So I think you send JJ to New York, and you get Jabril Peppers. And Justin Reed and Jabril Peppers, without a doubt, a top 3 safety duo. You got Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson. You got Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, and then you got Justin Reed and Jabril Peppers. That is a good safety duo. So I think the Texans should do this trade. Now, the third and final trade that a Texans could make, and this involves a bunch of salary being dumped. And this kind of, I want to say, a little bit unrealistic. There's a lot of salary being dumped. Like, a lot. If I calculate the numbers, it's probably like $37 million in cap being dumped. And no, it's not trading Deshaun Watson. It is trading J.J. Watt, Kenny Stills, and David Johnson to the Eagles for a third-round pick. Or, sorry, not a third-round pick. A first-round pick. Carson Wentz needs all the help he can get in the world. I kind of feel bad for him, man. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, and Jalen Reagor are all hurt. Both his tight ends, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, are hurt. Miles Sanders is hurt. His offensive line only has one starter there. Lane Johnson is hurt. Andre Dillard is hurt. Jason Peters is hurt. Oh, what's the other guy? How am I forgetting this guy's name? Brandon Brooks is hurt. Jason Kelsey is their only offensive lineman that's actually starting. He's like 31. I almost feel I feel really bad for Carson Wentz that he's having to deal with that. So what does he get? He gets Kenny Stills. He gets David Johnson. David Johnson, he could do some things in the receiving game for the Eagles. And Kenny Stills could be a reliable weapon for him because keep in mind, Deshaun Jackson is expected to play against New York on Thursday. So they play the game out with Deshaun Jackson and they trade for Kenny Stills, and then Kenny Stills can play in week 8. And you got Deshaun Jackson, Kenny Stills. And then you got David Johnson in the receiving game. That could give Carson Wentz some help, and Greg Ward is decent. So that could give Carson Wentz some help, and when Alshon Jeffrey does return, then you have Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, and Kenny Stills. And when Jalen Reagor returns, Carson Wentz has all these weapons. And when Zach Ertz returns, when Dallas Goedert returns, when Miles Sanders returns, Carson Wentz will have all the weapons in the world. And whenever his offensive linemen return, he'll have all the weapons in the world. And he'll be successful. So I think the Texans could make that trade. They can get a first-round pick. Everybody loves to say it. Well, no GM is going to come to the Texans because they don't have a first or a second-round pick. I mean, that's not true. This team is very, very talented. But, you prove them wrong and you get a first-round pick. Now you have some draft picks. You got a first-round pick to work with. Probably like a mid-first-round pick to work with. And the Eagles, they get a good player on the defense as well. J.J. Watt. Imagine a pass rush. Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, Malik Jackson, Javon Hargrave, Brandon Graham. That's a fierce pass rush right there. Darius Slay, Cravon LeBlanc, Avonte Maddox, Jalen Mills, Rodney McLeod. This Eagles team could be really good with that. And the Texans, they get to save a bunch of cap space. And really the only reason the Texans will get a first round pick is because the Eagles are getting Kenny Stills. He's a very good player, but he's trapped on the Texans because he's the fourth receiver. And they're getting J.J. Watt. And they're getting J.J. Watt. David Johnson, he has no trade value. He's not good. But, he could potentially help them a little bit. So those are three scenarios that I think the Texans could trades that they could make. But keep in mind the Texans are probably not going to make these trades because, Jack Easterby. Easterby is the GM, so he'll probably not make any trades. But these are three trades that I think the Texans could possibly make, and they would benefit the team. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my video. See you guys for the next video.